Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to Tara's Tuesday Talk, where I am delighted today to have Becky Vega with us.
Hi, it's good to be here.
I was shocked when she told me she hasn't been on a Tuesday Talk yet. Sorry, Becky.
It's the first one?
It is, and I'm so sorry for that. It should not be the first one, and you'll know why by the end of our time together. So we'll be sure to have Becky on again. But I invited her today because, as you've seen in our social media during August, we are talking about the importance of identifiers and the role you play as part of identity mission and keeping kids in families. And so Becky's a big part of that. Becky has been with us for about 6 years now.
Yes, that's right.
And she's a huge blessing to our kids and our families in the area of casework. And so that's why I'm having Becky on, so she can kind of share a little bit about that with you guys, because it's a huge part of what we do and what you support. And so we've been advocating for you guys to jump in as identifiers. That just means you support Identity Mission monthly, and I wanted you to really understand and know what you're supporting when you do that. And so a big part of Identity Mission is casework, because we work with foster families and we work with at-risk children in their biological families. We do casework, and so that means a lot, but I'm going to let Becky tell you what that means. Why is a caseworker, a psychologist, a social worker important to this work with vulnerable children in foster care, and even if they're in their biological family, but we're working with them? Why is it important, Becky?
Yeah, so the neat thing about having a team of qualified professionals in those areas, social work, psychology, it is really important, because what it does is it helps the children first and foremost. It brings the resources that they need close to them, close to the families, and the help that they need. We can really get down to the root of things with what they need. Of course, families need the basics, right? They need to be able to go to school. They need to be able to provide and have enough food, shelter, and all these things. But there's so many other things that also contribute to why they have to be in alternative care, or why some organizations have to step in and come and help. And they go beyond that. They go down to the very deep emotional root of things, and also family history, and a lot of things that are coming in generationally, right? So there's so many different factors that can be. And social workers and psychologists, they work with exactly those aspects, and helping children and families heal in those aspects. So we need a team for many reasons. As an organization, I feel like we need a team that is qualified, that helps us and have good record keeping. We need to have a record and a history of what we do, so we can learn from our mistakes, but also so that we can provide quality work for the families that we work with, but also then to the authorities. If there's ever a time we need to go to the authorities, we have good documents, and very consistent documents with plenty of information for the authorities, so that then we can work together. And that's the second thing, is we can advocate for the families when we have good information. So good advocating for the families, that means helping the families create a network, right, where they can bring in some resources that they really, really need, but also advocating with the authorities, so that when the authorities have to come and step in, they're able to do so in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. So that's why we need a team. And I think what's really neat is this team needs to work together. We have to work together because each professional brings in their own expertise. They bring in their own knowledge, their own expertise in the specific area, right, where they're needed, and what they went to school for, what they trained for. But the thing is, together, this information, their knowledge, and the work that they do, we can schedule things together, and then we can work towards the same goal. We want to make sure that we're working in the same goal, and honestly, we want to ensure that our work is child-centered first mm-hmm. and foremost. We want to be able to then give tools to the families, so that we can empower families, so that we can empower children. We want to be able to educate the children as well. But basically, I would say those are those are the reasons why we really need good caseworking. But definitely the advocating part is such a huge one for the families, and providing them with that network, and that's exactly what social workers do.
Yeah,
and psychologists do.
Exactly. And so that's just a very quick, simple snapshot of what our team does, and Becky's very much a part, and it has a role in training all of us. Keep training us. We keep learning and growing, and our caseworkers, our staff and team do as well, so that we can provide what families need. We have the foster care side, so whether it's helping a foster care child get through some trauma from their history, or helping the foster family help that child and also prepare themselves for wherever the case might take them as a foster family, helping their bio kids. And then, of course, our family preservation side as well, helping equip those bio families to care well for their kids, to deal with some trauma themselves, because usually that's a lot of the reason why they're in these at-risk situations. So our team does all of that, and they're trained professionals, and they keep up their training as well. And you guys are a huge part of bringing quality care to foster kids and vulnerable kids and their families here in Honduras. And we just think it's so important. I mean, the opposite to this, as many of you may know and have heard, and I know Becky's seeing firsthand here in Honduras, the opposite of this is literally kids only getting food, shelter, education, and they don't get the opportunity to grow, to heal, to even developmentally sometimes grow correctly and well, because they're in a larger institution, maybe have one psychologist per 100 children. And so we just didn't want that. We wanted something so much better, and that's why we've created this team and have asked you to support that, so that we can continue to give that quality care. And so, even with a lot of our science has proven, and we've shared a lot of this information with you guys, that even with the school, the food, and the housing, the shelter, a kid, even though they may have all of that, not dealing with their trauma, not finding their identity, which is exactly what caseworkers help families do and establish, then it's I don't want to say it's not for anything, but they aren't able to have the successful life they want to as adults.
It definitely takes care of the basics, right? Just like we mentioned. So even having a psychologist or a social worker on staff at an orphanage, or even with us as an organization, and only focusing on one thing, or only focusing on the one child, and we only take care of the basics, but there's so many of those root issues. So for example, you mentioned identity. Of course, where is your identity found, right? One of the first questions that you ask a person is, hey, what's your name? And wait, where are you from? And wait, who are you? So just those 3 questions, and for children to not have a clear answer for any of those questions. So my name is, right? And sometimes I may say, well, my name is Becky. Yeah, but what's your full name? Well,
I don't have a birth certificate.
I don't have a birth certificate, so I may not have one. Or my birth certificate was lost, or I don't know my last name. And so just that doesn't help with the root of the issue of identity, right? Because who am I? But then also being able to, in our case, whether it's with foster care, whether it's hoping to have contact with biological family once reintegrations have happened, once a child has gone back into their family, whether it's that a child has been adopted, or whether it's strengthening a family through the family preservation program. We want to really get down to the root of who the children are and how we can help them. And the way we do that is with family. So we talk about all these other issues with family, right? So we talk about helping the grandparents, helping the mothers, especially if they're mothers that are single mothers and they're working. So doing the work so that this family can find their identity as a family and also as individuals, that they can find their dignity, that they can be empowered. And we can't, not one professional can do that by themselves, right? It's teamwork. And so bringing in those people, but to not have that, to not have all of those other aspects covered, it covers your basics, but where do you go from there? Right. So in order to do the work more holistically, in order to really reach out, we need that. And really, we are very thankful for you guys, because you guys allow us to be able to care as caseworkers, and I'm speaking for all of our other caseworkers on staff already. But we're a small group, but we definitely love the work that we do. We see the importance of really working with the family and the children as a whole, and going beyond the basics is what I would say.
Yeah, and individualized care. I think you said it really well with that phrase, individualized care for each kid. And thank you, Becky. That's great. So just to encourage you guys this month, we're asking you to share the story. If you're already an identifier, find someone else who you know is looking for a cause, looking for something they can identify with to be a part of. Because with each new commitment from identifiers, we are able to commit to adding to our team. And so our hope is to add 2 more caseworkers in San Pedro Sula, and to serve our kids there, and to be able to take on, our goal this year was 16 more children as far as our capability. And so we just really need your help to be able to do that this year, or as we grow. And so however, there's no set amount. We have determined it's around $25 per child when we think of breaking up the salary of a caseworker. But a caseworker's salary is around $15,000 a year. And so I always encourage people to kind of be aware of what it takes to send. So we all love mission teams. We love our mission teams. Come on a mission trip. But I do try to encourage people to kind of look at the impact of that finances. So to send a group of about 15 people is about the same on a mission trip for a week, is about the same as an annual salary for a Becky. And so the impact that you can have in one of these, in about 15, because each caseworker can handle 10 to 15 kids or cases. So the impact you can have on 15 kids for a whole year is about the same, of the cost of sending, a small mission team for a week. And so not to say quit doing that, but just to give you the comparison of, if your church group can rally together and raise funds for a mission trip for $15,000 to send everybody on a mission trip, surely in that same heart and that same ambition, you could support a salary of a caseworker that will be giving individualized care to those children for that whole year. And that's, to me, that's like, wow, what an impact an identifier could have. And so we just love to encourage you to just, commit for a year with us. Just say, I'm going to give this amount that I can give for a year, and know that you're supporting that casework and that one-on-one care, helping a child heal from trauma, making sure an at-risk family really, really gets their family identity established, so that when they graduate from our program, they're empowered and they can be a successful, healthy family from then on out, and independent. And so that's
enabling us to care for our foster families, the ones that we already have, because as they go through the different processes of receiving a child, having a child in foster care, and then also having this child reintegrated back into their biological family, there's a lot that happens in the foster families. But think of, I would say with Tara, I would encourage you to think of what a massive impact. And I think that is just, it feels really neat, right? When you give, and you know that in that giving, you're enabling caseworkers to care better for children in that individualized care. But within that individualized care, you are also enabling us to help foster families, biological families, to strengthen families. And then, so that's, I don't know how many people, right? We're talking about one caseworker impacting the life of 10 to 15 children, but then there's everyone else in those families.
The families that they're impacting. Yes, very true, Becky. Good point.
Quite huge impact.
Big point. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and Becky or I will answer them. Thank you.
And thank you guys for giving. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you for enabling us to make that bigger impact. Thanks.